are joining us from. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. My name is Whitney Kirchner, and I am the Channel Director for Google Practice at TTEC Digital. And in this episode of Unlocking Vertex AI, I'm really excited to be joined by my colleague and AI expert, the one, the only, Mr. Aaron Schroeder. Aaron spearheads AI innovation at TTEC Digital as the Director of AI Solutions. And for some of you, I know AI can still seem like a big, scary word, but trust me, Aaron is here to break it all down in a way that's both informative and engaging. He's all about helping clients, big and small, unlock the power of AI to create a smoother, faster, and way more innovative customer experience. So thank you so much for joining us, Aaron. I have been looking forward to the opportunity to pick your brain on this topic for quite some time now.
Yeah, thanks, Whitney. Great to be here and talk about all of this.
All right, Aaron, I want to start by setting the stage on AI. The advancements in AI are happening on almost a daily basis. Generative AI has quickly moved from a concept to a buzzword to being a tool that a single employee can use to streamline their job or tasks, to now really being at the core of business strategies for enterprise organizations. Can you share with us some specific use cases that you are seeing right now that really show generative AI moving beyond the cool demo stage and delivering some real measurable business value?
Yeah, definitely. So a lot of times it helps to kind of break this down around like a three-tier framework, let's sort of say. So are using generative AI to extract better insights, to help analyze and create better data, to use it then for internal facing use cases where your employees, whether it's your agents or folks in different departments, being able to interact and engage and work with generative AI solutions, and then also external facing, how your customers are using it, how your end users actually experience it. And so within those, when we say analysis and insights, conversation intelligence is huge today. Probably the hottest topic out there, the hottest solution that I've seen in terms of bang for your buck, value delivered, frequency of implementation we have with our clients even. So conversation intelligence is really analyzing all of that unstructured data, your transcripts, your chats, your different interactions. And a lot of times we see that pointed at very specific use cases. So we have one customer that said, we have massive transfer rates, just really high transfer rates. Anecdotally, we know it's a problem. We don't know anything about it. Help us analyze the actual conversations that are leading to those. And so we did a lot of really great work there. Not all transfers were bad. People would call in with multiple problems. And so the transfers were actually a sign of success in that case. And you can't really learn that without using generative AI to boil down those conversations and glean those kinds of insights. Now, on the employee facing side, summarization is, I would say, the most direct line to value that a lot of companies are seeing. We have customers that will save 3 minutes on the front and back end of each case or each call they handle. We had one customer say that it was more in the 5 to 10 minutes per range, which was, I'll say, not typical, but definitely massive and real for them. So call and case summarization, absolutely, as well as knowledge assist solutions. So whether that's a passive agent assist while they're on the phone, or rather an active agent assist while they're on the phone, or a passive one where somebody types in an answer and gets that sort of Google generative search-like experience based on their knowledge. We're seeing that have massive results, improved average handle time, especially for newly trained agents or folks that are maybe on the lower end of performance for whatever reason. It sort of raises the bar for all the employees. Your high performers stay your high performers, but then everyone else can kind of get a little bit closer to that and tighten the talent range, so to speak. Now, customer facing, we're seeing this more and more. Especially we've seen even in the public sector space, citizen facing conversational agents, conversational bots. So maybe not necessarily as frequently in the realm of fully fully generative AI enabled agents, but certainly using those as fallbacks. So still using your intents to drive specific conversation flows in the way that needs to be done, but having that generative fallback to say, hey, we didn't set up an intent on this, but you can scour our knowledge content and our knowledge articles and use that to not create a sort of friction laden experience, but cover a broader range of topics that might be accessible. So that's definitely where we're seeing it real now, delivering real value. And one thing I'll say to that effect, though, is that those are the immediate results we're seeing right now. I like to tell our customers that AI can get better if you give it care and feeding, or it will get worse if you do nothing. It will never stay the same. It will never produce that exact result forever, indefinitely, and you can revisit it when the next generation comes up. There's a flywheel effect here. So if we're saying, hey, we're saving this many minutes per call summarization, or we're improving average handle time by this much, you'll get better insights on these interactions. You use that to improve your products and services. Those get better adopted. They produce more data, and then you get better insights from that. So this flywheel effect is really in there, and that's what you're wanting to jump into is this flywheel. It's not a linear path to success that you achieve and you move to the next solution. This is the start of something huge, something great for really any enterprise, anyone of any scale.
All right, let's cut to the chase. We teased it in the title of this episode, but making generative AI work day one. Tell me, Aaron, is that even possible? What are the expectations versus the reality of implementing generative AI?
Yeah, so the $1 trillion question a lot of times is, what is day one? Is that day one of my internal team kicking the tires on something? Is it day one of a full production go live? And if so, what does that mean? The what we see a lot is Google search AI. It works for me, and I use Gemini, and I even try other tools that are out there. But what we hear from customers a lot is, well, then I go to use it in my business context and it seems sort of effective, maybe a little lackluster. And that's because it needs to be highly specific and specialized to your business's context and details. And in the same way that when you encounter an issue and say, okay, well, I need to figure out the procurement process for this, or how finance lets me file an expense report, or something, you wouldn't go to Google to search that because Google doesn't know that. That's internal company knowledge. And that's what I think leads to this mental disconnect of people saying, well, it worked, but it didn't work the way I wanted it. And so it is possible. It is absolutely possible. But that's where we always encourage using your company's information, using your company's data, and making sure that it's clean and right for the purpose. So the reason why some companies say, well, it didn't work day one for me, is because it can't just be plug your LLM into your data. Just, hey, I have this knowledge content, or I have this information or these processes, and I'm just going to point an LLM at it, and then it's going to do everything I've come to expect in my daily personal life. There is a little bit more care and feeding and massaging that has to go into that to make that happen.
All right, you talk about defining what day one means for your organization, and I think that is really important. For a lot of organizations, that means starting with a pilot. And we see some successful pilots that, when they transition into a full production environment, can get a little tricky. What are the key differences to consider between a pilot and a production environment?
Yeah, I mean, what this really comes down to is your data you're using to feed the AI, because at the end of the day, your AI solutions are simply your data at work, and then use case mapping. So pilots, by their very nature, are more narrow. They work on a subset, and you get to say things like, okay, only use it this way to test it, or only interact with it in this way, and hey, it only knows these things, only use it for that. But you can't do that in production. And we say a lot, sort of, that people are messy, they're unpredictable. They'll do weird things, they'll do fun things, they'll do new things that produce unintended behaviors, and you have to have a response strategy. So that's a really important consideration. There is, what's the feedback loop, what's your measurement of all of that, and then modalities as well. So as time goes on, fewer and fewer things in the world are text only. So recognizing how you're going to cross channels, SMS to email to voice to something else, and then cross modalities. So you may be, interacting in a chat or something to that effect, but then you need to add an image, you need to add a video, and leveraging that context is really, really important, and helps shape what you're able to achieve, what you're looking to kind of have happen in something like that. And so that's really, as you open the aperture and go from a narrow specific pilot, use it in this way for this, thing, and then say, okay, now it's going to apply to something broader. It's not really just a matter of putting more people onto it, but different people have different responsibilities. So what you're doing is exponentially increasing the use cases that are being handled by that specific solution, and so it really has to be treated that way. And that's, that's a major piece of that we've found time and time again.
Okay, Aaron, so are there specific metrics or data points that an organization should be measuring that might indicate whether they are on a path to success, or if they need to go back and do a little bit of that caring, feeding, massaging that you talked about earlier?
Yeah, I would say, again, it goes back to the use case that you're targeting. So as far as specific metrics, we like to say, hey, AI solutions can bring speed, consistency, create learning, foster innovation. As long as you know what you're trying to accomplish with that, then you can drill into the metrics. And there's never a single golden metric. Maybe it's first contact resolution, maybe it's a time study that shows a process overall time decrease, that speed increase, really. Maybe it's NPS or CSAT. There's a lot of things that went into this. We think people are going to feel happier at the end of it and feel better about us. But I would say, depending on what you're looking to tackle with it, there would be specific metrics you want to put in place, and then consider those as a suite. So there's no, single KPI. The OKR approach always works very well, but there's no single KPI that says this was a success or this was a failure. It's really, what did you expect to happen? Flesh that out, and then use that to say, did we accomplish it, and do the various stats back that up. So that's the angle I'd say we typically tend to take around that.
All right, so we all know that generative AI can produce some incredible outputs, but it's not without its potential pitfalls. I know you mentioned a couple at the top, with the flywheel effect, but what are some of the biggest challenges organizations may experience when implementing generative AI? And more importantly, how can they overcome them?
Yeah. So the first, again, goes back to knowing what success looks like. So is it productivity, reduced customer friction? How and are you actively measuring that impact? So that's definitely the first. The second, I would say, is lack of specificity, and sort of being enamored with the shiny. So uh, there's a mental balance that has to happen. You have to be specific in what you're targeting, know what you're trying to solve for, and stay in those bounds, but also recognize the linkages and synergies. And so this feels a little bit like opposing advice. Be aware of everything, but stay in your lane. The duality becomes a challenge. So the example here, to maybe bring this a little more to life, is uh, some call summarization and the active agent assist. So these are different use cases and capabilities. You maybe don't want to do both at the same time, or or maybe you do, but by combining on something like that with Google CCAI, you've got better synergies, better cost structures, all of that, and you're not worried that the one-off model you chose for call summarization uses different structures, uses different taxonomies from your agent assist model that's being invoked under the hood, or worry about training them both when updates happen later on, new knowledge articles, new new regulations, new compliance mandates, things like that. And so having a way to sort of rationalize those but still know what you're pursuing, that's that's been a challenge for a lot of organizations. And it's a lot to balance in a new space. And so that's definitely come about. uh the third that maybe I could offer in this is around internal organizational structures. So the ownership and the internal pathways are really often a barrier. So IT sees all of generative AI as a new tech tool they should own and govern and moderate. Businesses see it as a transformative, transformational thing they need now and should be using themselves because it's democratized and liberated. And then security or legal will see it as a new frontier they need to monitor and keep a close eye in and be very informed on. And that's where we, as TTEC Digital, as a partner, have had a lot of success, is helping make it practical and move faster than internal structures are set up to do. Very few groups have actually gone and reevaluated their budgeting cycles, their project intake structures, and things like that to accommodate the pace of innovation. And so, you know, what will help do is set that up, drive that internal adoption, and improve the success rate of these sorts of things, and make those solutions yours. But pushing the boat off the dock or taking that first step can be really tricky a lot of times, not because there isn't an appetite or not because there isn't a need for that, but we can really grease the skids there. And I'm sort of mixing multiple metaphors there, but hopefully that's coming across.
You can never have enough metaphors. All right, Aaron, you have given us so much great information and insights. As we wrap up this episode, I want to leave listeners with a tangible takeaway to help them get started in their Gen AI journey, or that they can take back and reevaluate their existing strategy. If you had to pick 3 essential elements to build a strong foundation for generative AI success, what would they be? I have a feeling that use cases might be one of those.
If we're picking just three, I would say the first is use cases. Again, this has been a common theme here. What are you looking to accomplish, and why are you looking to accomplish that? You're going to place your bets. Make sure that you know where you've placed your bets. Don't place them wildly. The second is data that can support your foundation. Your data is critical. Consistency in that, the structure of that, the tone you're using in that, the guardrails you're putting on that for safety are absolutely paramount. And that data you're using in the management, the governance, the curation of it is more than anything predictive of your success on day one. And third is having an appetite for innovation. Where you start might not be where you end. What you learn may be different from what you thought you would, but you can still put that to use. And we've seen that over and over. And that's all right. You really should have that appetite for innovation that helps you pivot to where the successes lead you, and keep an open mind within your group and across your whole organization. So I would definitely say those are the three elements: the use cases, the data that supports it, and the appetite for innovation.
Aaron, I could listen to you talk about AI and customer experience strategy all day. Thank you so much for sharing all of your knowledge and insights with us. It really was insightful. And thank you to everyone who joined us today. For those of you who aren't familiar, we do this Unlocking Vertex AI series every month. Next month, we're going to bring Aaron back into the hot seat, and we're going to take this conversation one step further and discuss how you can personalize the chat experience with Google Cloud's Vertex AI. In the meantime, there is a lot of great resources on TTEC Digital's website Whether you like to consume your content via white paper, video, webinar, blogs, we have something for everyone. And there's a lot of great thought leadership content on there from Aaron Schroeder himself. So go check it out, and we will see you next time.